Hi, it's Jane, and I have a little mini yarn haul, and I thought I would work on some knitting while we did a little chat. We'll see how it goes, but I'll tell you about the yarn haul. No, I did not purchase any of this yarn. It was all gifted to me. I got home. Um, Today is every third Friday of the month. Our church puts on a senior luncheon. And it is a time for us to get together, socialize, have a meal together, as well as get a nice devotional from one of our young men in the church, one of the pastors. He's a youth pastor here, and he does an excellent job with this. So when I got home, I go to pick up my friend, and she had some skeins of yarn, and I was positive that there are only 2 skeins, but there are 6. So let me show you those. And there are 6 of them. This is the Hometown USA in Rose de Honolulu, or it's called Honolulu Pink. And there are 6 of these. It's a number 6, super bulky. And the woman that had these, I think they were gifted to her, but I'm not sure. She doesn't like working with this yarn. So I was like, perfect. I can make a few things, for Operation Christmas Child with these. And I thought there were only 2 skeins, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6. 6 of those. So I have those now to go in. I'm just going to add them to the tote we're working out of. I don't know what else to do. And then I get home, and by my garage door is a bag from Ollie's. Someone had stuck a note in it and had said, Jane, I saw this at Ollie's, and I thought you could make something with it. They're nice big skeins. And I'd been at Ollie's earlier this morning, and I'd looked at these, and I thought, nope, not buying. Nope, not doing it because I have enough yarn. Although they had these 2 in this color, and then they also had it in Bluebell, the Bluebell colorway. Now I have the smaller skeins of the Bluebell, but they had the larger skeins. But this is Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo in the color Claret. And she dropped off 2 of these. So I have some more yarn. Isn't it funny how you don't even have to purchase yarn, but people that know that you use yarn will sometimes gift it to you for no reason at all. And I mean, I was shocked. I've never had anybody just drop off brand new skeins of yarn. I've had them drop off used balls of yarn and yarn that they weren't working with. So that was nice. It's very nice of this young lady to do that for me. So yeah, so I do have just a teeny tiny yarn haul, even though it wasn't one that I had planned on. But yeah, it just keeps coming out of the woodwork, doesn't it? And got to meet a young lady who has never been to one of our senior luncheons. This is put on by the senior ministry group. And normally the kids that are involved in this are anywhere from age, I want to say 8 and up. Sometimes we have there's a couple that are teens, young teens. But sometimes we have a little group of older teens who are able to come help as well. But it was the younger ones and the younger teens that were helping. And most of these kids are homeschooled, so they are able to use it and to serve us on this one day, once a month. And it's just really nice. I see my battery's about to die, so let me change that. But anyway, these young kids will help serve the meal. They'll help bring drinks to you, get drinks for the folks. And there are a couple of people that do come that use walkers or use canes, and they can't always carry a tray full of food. So these kids will carry the tray through the line for them and take it back to their seat. Help them all along the way to fill their food trays or food plates, and it's just nice to see young people doing that kind of thing. And they're good kids. So yeah, and it was nice to meet someone new who'd never been to it and was kind of excited to see that. And of course, we tried to, tell her that she was more than welcome to come back each month. They do it each month. They could go to the church website and look for it, or they can just call the church, about a week before the meal, which it's always on the third Friday, and just let them know that they would like to come for it, and they're more than welcome. So yeah, we had a nice little good time together, and it's good to see a lot of people that were able to get out of the house because this weather has been really bad. This morning, as I was going out, and you're going to see this video Saturday because I already have what whip that I posted earlier today before I left the house. But you're going to see this on Saturday. But when I left this morning, the road was pretty crappy, and it's just nerve-wracking driving down that road. Like I said, the first curve isn't so bad, but the second curve off to the left, there is like a 20-foot drop if you slide over, and there is no guardrail. So it's a little nerve-wracking sometimes. So yeah, that's one of those times where you just take it easy and slow and get down there. Of course, by the time I got back, because I had to stop and had to go to Ollie's, I go to Ollie's and I get, those those smelly beads that you get for your washing machine, with the gain, the boost, and all that kind of stuff. So I always get my favorite flavor of the month in that and pick up my detergent. I do find that it's a little bit cheaper than picking that up at Walmart many times because I have a coupon that gives me a certain percentage off, but just in general it's a little bit cheaper. Plus they have some sugar-free sweeteners, flavored sweeteners that I like to pick up, one of those being raspberry. And occasionally the toasted, I think it's toasted coconut or marshmallow or something, caramel. I think they have hazelnut and Irish cream. And so sometimes I like to pick those up because I can add those to the creamers that I make for my coffee. So I'd done that, and I always go look and see, go look for new devotionals, look for coloring books, look to see if there are any toys that are marked down, that kind of thing. And then generally after I do that, then, I just kind of wander the store to get a little bit of walking in. And then I always go by and look to see what the yarn is, how much it's running, that kind of thing. And of course, they still have all those Ogos, and they have some of that loopy thick yarn. And then they had a box that had the claret yarn in it. And then they had a box of the Bluebell colorway. And I'll tell you folks, I seriously thought about buying some skeins. But, I'm really trying not to unless I absolutely have to have a color that I don't have. So, universe provided for me this time, so that was a nice little surprise. And then I always go look back and look at some of the things they have, like lamps, and sometimes I also look to see the different types of kitchen towels they have, because it's always nice to give kitchen towels as gifts to others. And so I kind of do that, see if there's anything I want to pick up. And sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. And of course, now they're getting all that gardening stuff out, so I like to walk through and see that, see what kind of lawn chairs and lawn accoutrements they will have. And I like to walk through and see if there are any bed sheets and things. You know, I do a lot of what my mother used to call window shopping. But I did pick up the sugar-free raspberry syrups that I like, and some of the other things. And with the raspberry sugar-free syrups, many times I will purchase like a diet soda, like diet zero sugar, Sprite, 7-Up, something like that, or even Walmart's brand of, I think it's called Twist Up or something like that. And then I will add a splash of that raspberry flavor to my drink, and then drink that when I want fizzy water, because I do like fizzy water. My husband used to laugh at me because that's what I would call it, fizzy water. And I thought there would be a point in my life where I didn't think I could do without fizzy water. I've done without fizzy water at times, but I do like it as a little bit of a treat. Lots of times with dinner, so do mix that in a little bit. But then after I did that, I had to go over to Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree, I was basically looking for some allergy medication. They have an allergy medication that I use frequently each month. And if I were to get it over at the Wally Mart, Wally World, it would run me $17 to $30 for a month's worth. And I can get 2 months worth for about $6, a little over $6. Same brand, same medications, exact same medication to the T. So when they have it in, I like to pick up quite a few of it. It's one of those that they do not allow you to order it, because if they did allow me to order it, I would order a case or two at a time, because it's that good a price. And of course, while I was over there, I walked through, and I like to pick up the little Brim's cheese balls. I like those for a snack every once in a while. So I pick up a couple pack of those for the month. And yes, it lasts me a month, because I don't go hog wild. I just take a little handful, snack on them, and then move on. Most of the time I don't really eat a lot of bread, although I go in these phases where I like bread. And as you know, I make my own bread now, mainly because it terrifies me what's in some of these breads, because you'll get a loaf of bread and it lasts forever and ever and ever. Never goes mold. And that kind of freaks me out. So I like making my own bread, and and then generally if I do have bread, like if I have made 2 loaves of bread, I will slice up 1 loaf completely, package them in 2 slices of bread to a Ziploc baggie. Put those all into a freezer bag and put them in the freezer so that I can pull out, a little bit at a time. So that, I do enjoy that, and there is a way to make your bread taste just as fresh as the day you baked it. And so, yeah, that's kind of some of those things that I do enjoy. So yeah, I do pick those up, and this time when I was walking through, I found a couple of things. Of course, with Easter, they have a lot of that sidewalk chalk out there, and don't give me grief about this, because I know there are a lot of countries that don't have sidewalks, but that the OCC sends. But one of the things that I like to buy is at Hobby Lobby. They carry a 4-pack of blackboards. Of course, Dollar Tree carries a blackboard that is flexible, that you could actually add to the back of a board or cutting board or something like that to give it a little more strength. And then they could use that to write on with the chalk. So, I like to include those occasionally in the box with the sidewalk chalk. It's a little bit easier for the little small hands to grasp than just a regular piece of chalk, although Dollar Tree sells colored chalk in that smaller size, and they sell it in white all the time too. So yeah, I kind of like to pick those things up here and there. But I have been enjoying being able to sit and knit a little bit, because I don't normally get to do that as much as I would like to. And of course, the only bad thing is my yarns are all tangled up and all discombobulated, but that's okay. Still works out fine. I do know, for those of you that do enjoy Selena Baca, I do know that she was live with Connie today, starting at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 12:30 Central Time. So if you didn't get a chance to watch it live, you might consider watching the replay of it. I don't know that I've seen Selena do a lot of lives with other people, so but she's a very talented crocheter. She has a lot of information to share with a lot of people, and I can't remember the name of her crochet academy. Maybe American Crochet Academy. But if you watch Dana, then you will, I always say Dana Two Ponies, but that's not the name of her channel. Dana's Wonderlust Crochet. If you watch her channel, you know that she took the course through Selena's Association, Academy, whatever it's called. I'll try to put a link down to it down below if I remember. But it's a pretty good program, pretty sound, and there are a couple of programs around that do give you some accreditation to be able to teach crochet, although I don't think you absolutely need accreditation to do it. But if you want to do it, on a professional level and to make some money that way, these courses along with the Yarn Council's courses are some great courses to consider taking. And they're not for the faint of heart. There's a lot to learn in those courses, so. And I am just drinking plain water. Kind of coffeeed out this morning. So, had coffee at the dinner, plus a lot of water. And I was kind of laughing because my cats today, and I'll insert a picture here. It truly is like having toddlers. They were playing with this little mouse that they have and batting it around between each other. And they happened to bat it into their food bowl, and one of them actually backed into their water bowl, spilling the water bowl. So it is like having two toddlers sometimes around. But I did take a picture of the toy and the food because I thought that was kind of funny. But sometimes these cats just floor me, the way that they do things. And I know many times when I go to bed, I can hear Ronan in here playing with that mouse of his, tossing it up into the air and, you know, throwing it and chasing it. Because all you hear is thunk, thunk, thunk. Cats are funny. Absolutely hilarious. So it was a pretty good day. Did enjoy the luncheon, like I said. The devotional was pretty good. The pastor read off some things about some park. You know, it's up in the mountains, and some of the complaints and things people have complained about. You know, some of the silly things they complained about, like it would be nice if there were more trails that didn't go uphill. It would be nice if you would spray for all the spiders. There's too many spiders in the forest. You know, stupid things like that. But one of his favorite things was one of the deer during an overnight camp out crept into their camp and stole a jar of pickles. So they would like to be reimbursed for that. But there's a part of me that goes, I wonder if that deer ever got into the jar of pickles. And I doubt that the deer actually stole a jar of pickles, but I guess anything is possible, right? It's crazy. But I always find it interesting, the things that people complain about when they're outdoors. You know? Folks, it's outdoors. There are spiders out there, there are snakes, there are all kinds of creepy crawlies. You know? But yeah. So what are you guys working on today? Are you working on something you have been trying to get finished? I will tell you, my sister had called me last night. She had asked me, she is going to be babysitting her granddaughter in next week or so because her daughter has to go do some things, and so she is going to watch her granddaughter. And her daughter had taught her granddaughter how to crochet, but the only thing she's been able to do is crochet a chain. And it's a very long chain by now. So my sister had called and she'd asked me, do I know of any patterns where someone does a, like, a dog's paw. She saw a pattern. She said she wasn't sure if it was Pinterest or came across her feed on Facebook or exactly where it was she saw it. But she thought that she could teach her granddaughter how to make a granny square. And they could make a, what we've called a little passport bag. And of course, they would add, more things to it. So it could be truly a bag, like handles or to where it could go across her belt or something like that. So she could have her passport in her bag. And she's a young lady who likes to carry her own passport, thank you. Not give it to mother, so she's very responsible. But my sister wanted to know if I had any of those that have a paw print on them. And I told her offhand no, although I have seen them, and that I think I can probably find it. Most likely also find a written pattern. And I said, there are probably a ton of videos on YouTube. And my sister had laughed. She said, I never even thought to go to YouTube. She said, because I'm too impatient. She doesn't want to watch the whole video. She prefers a written pattern, which is fine. A lot of people like written pattern. So I'm on the hunt for a written pattern for a paw print granny square. So that my, I guess she'd be my grandniece, can learn to make a granny square and make her own little passport pouch. And yes, she is going, I think she's going back to England sometime within the next couple of months. And she absolutely adores England. Of course, she always likes to visit the tea rooms, and she likes being able to get a new fascinator every once in a while. So it's apparent she believes she was born in the wrong country, so, that is a little joke that we kind of have with each other. Of course, my sister always felt like she would have been a better British citizen than an American citizen, so we always tease about that because she enjoys the tea and everything about the British. So just think it's funny how people pick up on certain things that they enjoy like that. I wouldn't say so much that I have a certain country that I have been enamored with. Do love learning history. I know there was a woman that we were talking with that has never been to the mill, this different woman. And one of the people that was at the table was talking about those people that are Puerto Rican, they're American citizens, and this woman was trying to say, no, they're not. And it was like they've been American citizens since 1898, the Treaty of Paris, that gave Puerto Rico the territory of Puerto Rico. So yes, they are U.S. citizens. It was interesting to listen to her because no, they're not. Especially if their parents had come to Puerto Rico and weren't Puerto Rican and then moved back to their own country, even after becoming supposedly Puerto Ricans, while they were in Puerto Rico. Then they moved back like to Canada, and they had a child, that child would not be Puerto Rican or American. And it was like, you must have failed history. You truly must have failed history. But, you know, that's okay because some people don't understand. And you're not going to get it through their heads because they're stubborn. But it was interesting listening to the two of them talk about it. And the one gal, she is Puerto Rican nationality, but she was born in the U.S. She was born in Ohio. So, we were laughing, and I said to her, you know, it's kind of like me. I grew up in New Mexico. I don't know how many times people think that New Mexico is not a part of the U.S., but, you know, you can't convince people, you know. I don't know why you actually put any effort into it. But, you know, she said, yeah, when did New Mexico become a state? I said, 1945. New Mexico was brought into the U.S. as a state. I said, but, you know, and I told her we were kind of talking about things, and I said, my dad was a dental lab tech, so many times he would be, you know, he had to buy titanium, steel, gold, those kind of things for many of the things that he was making, bridges and, you know, for the root canals and all that kind of stuff. And he would order something, he would order gold, like from a company in New York, and New York would send him a notice, call him, and say they don't import. And he said, I'm not asking you to import. I'm in the U.S. And they would argue with him. No, New Mexico is not in the U.S. And he'd have to tell them to go get an atlas or whatever and look it up. And yes, New Mexico is a state. It is part of the United States. So you're not importing, you're not exporting, you're just sending it across state lines. So, yeah, it was just interesting, you know, all those things that I remembered as a kid. And of course, am I about to run out of time? Yep, I am. Let me pause you a minute. So, of course, you know, we'd have to go through the whole thing, yeah. But, of course, when I was in high school, after my mother died, we moved to Arkansas. And I think I've told you this story before. When I walked into the class, Spanish class, where this was my third year Spanish, and in New Mexico, after your first year of Spanish, then your second, third, and fourth year, when you were in the classroom, you were expected to speak in Spanish in the class. That was to help you learn conversational Spanish, all that kind of stuff. If you didn't know the word, you could ask the instructor, you know, you would say what you wanted to say, what word, and she would instruct the whole class what it was. But third year, I get into this Spanish class, and teacher introduces me and, you know, says to me, tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm telling them all about myself in Spanish. And I look at them, and they all have this look on their face like, what is she saying? And I thought, well, you know, I grew up in New Mexico, so maybe my accent, because when you grow up in New Mexico, a lot of people develop a little bit of a Hispanic accent, And I knew I had one, so, I wasn't too worried about that. But then the teacher asked if anyone had any questions. They all wanted to know if at the school that I went to, if the nuns actually hit us with rulers. And I kind of looked at them and I said, no, I didn't go to a Catholic school. Went to a public school, of course, in Spanish. Then one of the kids had asked me, do you speak any English? And it was about then that I realized that they didn't speak Spanish in the classroom like what I was taught. And I started laughing. And the teacher asked me what was so funny. And so I explained to the class that after first year Spanish, second year courses and up were expected to speak in Spanish in the classroom. There was to be no English spoken unless it was a word you didn't know or a phrase you didn't know. You could say it in English if you didn't know it in Spanish. And then teacher would instruct the whole class what the word was. And then you heard this, oh, we didn't think you spoke any English. So it was kind of funny. But, and yeah, in that classroom, they did not speak Spanish, even though it was third year Spanish. And the teacher had asked me, what were some of the other ways? I said, well, being in New Mexico, we do get one of the channels from Mexico, Telemundo, that we could watch all the time. We could watch the novellas, the TV shows, the entertainment shows to help us learn Spanish as well. And of course, my family, they allowed me to do that because they were learning along with me. But it was rather funny. And at that time, I don't remember Telemundo being available there in Arkansas. And this was Fort Smith, Arkansas. So it was interesting. And of course there I met quite a few people in one of my English classes. There was, they did a Christmas gift exchange in the English class. So I didn't really have anything, and I couldn't think of anything. I'd picked this young man's name, but he had always talked about in this English class, he wanted to be a geologist and all this other stuff. Well, I had quite a few just turquoise nuggets that, and they were, big nuggets of turquoise that I had gone into some of the mines and found them and brought them back. And then my dad and I cleaned them up, polished them up, that kind of stuff. But I hadn't really done anything with it. And of course, my dad was still doing some of the things with the dental lab. So I'd asked him if he could drill a hole through one of the chunks so that I could put it on a leather thong so I could present that to that young man as a Christmas gift. Well, I did do that. And he was so excited. He was thrilled to death and, couldn't believe that he had this beautiful gift and all this kind of stuff. So when I started nursing school in New Mexico, because my stepmother had moved back to New Mexico. And so when I started nursing school, I was still living with my parents. And there was this girl in this class, and I kept thinking, I know her, but I don't know where I know her. So as part of nursing program, you had to take interpersonal communications. And in this class, we all had to do a speech talking about ourselves or a subject, that kind of thing. And she was one of the first people to talk. And she'd stood up and she had this poster made. She talked about the high school where she went to in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and blah, blah, blah. And I just blurted out, "That's where I know you from." And she goes, and she stopped her speech and she said, "Yeah, I keep thinking I knew you from somewhere." I said, "I was in that English class, and your boyfriend wanted to become a geologist at the time, and I gave him that turquoise nugget." And she goes, "He is a geologist now, and he's my husband." So it was neat to get to reconnect with somebody that I thought I would never reconnect with because they were in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and I had moved back to Roswell, New Mexico. So it was rather shocking. And, she finished her speech, and then after class, we went to get a coffee, soda, or something like that. We just talked and talked and talked. And then, of course, she wanted me to meet her husband and all that kind of stuff. So we had a nice dinner and became very good friends. So interesting the things that happen to you in your life. And why would you ever think that you would meet someone again that you went to school with in another state and then meet them at college? Yeah, neat. So, and I had gone back to college after a few years. I'd worked some jobs in between. She had done the same while her husband was getting his degree in geology. So, it was just rather interesting. A lot of fun to get to be able to talk and meet up again. And he told me, he said, the job that he took that came up was in Roswell, New Mexico. And he said, and I just remembered that because we were in the same Spanish class in Arkansas, he said you kept talking about where you were from was Roswell, New Mexico, and that you had mined, some turquoise in the past and some other things like that. And he said, so when the job came up in New Mexico and Roswell, he took it because he knew he would be close enough to go mine some of the different gemstones that are around in New Mexico. Yeah. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy what happens in this world. Okay, folks. So I've asked you what you were making. Give me an idea. I have not looked at what everyone has voted on for me to make. I am going to do that later on this afternoon. And of course, when I do Monday's video, I will talk about what was chosen and then show you some of the things that I think I'm going to make with some of these other things. And then we'll get into that. And I don't know about you, my sister had been talking about the polar vortex. She was also wanting to know last night if the polar vortex had hit us yet. That was coming from there. I said, "Oh yeah, it hit us. We're experiencing it. Thank you very much. Not too pleased about it. Need to add some yarn in. But I don't know about you, but I am absolutely just over winter. And I was noticing in the app that spring is coming, warmer weather. Next week we're supposed to have a couple of days where it's in the 50s. I am really looking forward to that because, like I said, I am pretty tired of this weather. Absolutely stinking tired of it. So I am ready for spring, definitely. But other than that, there hasn't been a whole lot going on. I did have one of you ask me if I was still planning on moving. Possibly. My lawyer had suggested doing what's called, and I cannot remember the exact name that he called it, but it's like a lifetime legacy sale where I would actually get to stay in my home, live in it until I was ready to move on. But an investor would buy the house, pay the taxes each year, those kind of things and whatnot. And I would get to live in my home and this home for that time. So we haven't really explored much of that yet. The investor is still doing a lot of digging information on it, that kind of thing. But in the meantime, I am hoping that the house does sell and that I will just move. Just because of the problems with the contractor and all that kind of stuff. The other thing is it is just way too big. It truly is too big. I cannot keep up with the cleaning of it and can't really afford to pay someone to come in and clean. So plus the whole thing with having to do the driveway, all that kind of stuff. And it's big. It's bigger than I thought it would be, but life sometimes takes you by surprise and something changes what your plan was. And that's okay. You'll be all right. So, sort of yes, maybe no is the answer to that until we either get things worked out or decided is basically where things are. It's still up in the air. And of course, with the market, sometimes it's not good. And a lot of that has to do with the interest rates, so we will see. But yeah, I think I've chatted on a little long enough for today. I hope everybody has a great weekend. I hope you are enjoying the weather that is in your area, and if not, there will be better days soon. Yes. All right, guys. See you guys soon. Remember, do something kind today. Bye.